Hi folks, welcome back to the Amazing Education Station, the Amazing Education channel, where it's not about the video, it's just about listening and giving you the information that's going to benefit your life. I'm not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice, but I'm a master educator, IQ over 120 sometimes. And so if you're starting out on your financial journey, rental journey, this is a video about how a mortgage could put you at risk for bankruptcy. Financial education is what you might need. Although, as I said, this is not financial advice, as I'm not a financial advisor, but you probably do need a financial advisor. But a financial advisor doesn't really get involved in real estate. And you might consider a wealth manager, or listening to Dave Ramsey or somebody else who's gone bankrupt. Even though they're very intelligent and successful, there's a huge risk. It's possible that most real estate investors end up losing money. Maybe 40% succeed, or maybe 60% succeed in the long run. But so compared to other businesses, it may be less risky, but compared to other investments, for example stock markets, it's hugely more risky. So you got to keep that in mind. It's much more risky, and because people get mortgages to do real estate investing, they put themselves at risk, and banks make money. And of course, they're not in business to warn you of the risks. Don't use the bank as your advisor to make your decisions. Use them if you need to. It's definitely beneficial for your own personal home, which if you run into financial trouble, then you could just rent out your personal home and live in a little rental room or a cottage in the backyard, or or an apartment. And so if it's your own personal home, then you'll be okay. So it's not bad to have a mortgage, especially if you're going to use the money, instead of paying cash for a house, use it to have as a general index fund over many years and have it in stock market indexes, both in the United States and maybe 15-20% internationally, something like that. And I don't completely promote Dave Ramsey, but he's got some very good ideas about how not to go broke. Very good ideas. Although he says you can't go broke if you don't owe money on a mortgage. He's wrong about that, and I disagree about a lot of his philosophy. But not getting mortgages for investment real estate, that's very good advice. Very good. It's hard to lose much money, although you can still do it, but if you don't have mortgages. So and you might wonder, well, what are the risks? How could I possibly go bankrupt? Well, if there's some kind of major economic trouble, war, recession, or if you have some kind of health issue or a house fire, if you lose your place to live and you lose your job and you have a health problem and you have to rebuild the house and you didn't have insurance and you owe the taxes, property taxes for a house, there you go. You've got bankruptcy plus terrible health problems. And most people, when they're young, they don't consider any of these as possible. They just don't even think about them. They may have millions of dollars of, well, I guess you might call it equity, control millions of dollars worth of property, although a lot of it could be sort of bank owned or mortgaged. And then something unexpected happens because they're not experienced and they can't pay the mortgages. They're not getting income in rents and other income. and maybe they can't do the paperwork due to an illness, and suddenly they're being foreclosed on. The bank wants to take the properties, and they might do it, and so you could lose millions of dollars, just millions of dollars. So look into that. Now, another issue is all the paperwork and the added emails and excess paper mail from the old-fashioned post office snail mail type mail that you would have. So you may, in fact, 100%, I recommend having a separate P.O. box, and maybe they say get a limited liability company, so start a company, LLC, which is not that expensive, by the way, to handle your real estate. But then you have added paperwork, added expense, although it's not that great. But anyway, so these added time wasters, and getting a mortgage is a huge hassle if you are pressed for time. So now if you have plenty of time and say you already work in real estate, then you could be just fine. But you know, the sort of rules of competition, or just the competitive nature of business and real estate, it's not easy to find amazing deals unless you're a hard worker and lucky and, you know, and very financially savvy, so that you always have huge emergency funds, years of income in cash or other assets, maybe investments. And if you have those, then you might survive without losing money and losing your shirt and going bankrupt. Maybe if you get into being a real estate professional with rental real estate. But even just having a mortgage, say you don't want to get into rental real estate, you're just considering a mortgage, and you're an extremely busy person, perhaps. And so if you've rented previously, or you've never owned a home, and you're thinking, okay, well, I want a house, I want my own house, I'm supposed to, it's good for a family, maybe you're just starting a family and whatnot, and it's a good thing to do, and you know, think how easy and enjoyable my life is going to be. Well, if you've never taken care of the house, holy smokes, you don't know the cleaning, the repairs, the worries, the roof, the, you know, the utility bills and everything. You got to set those things up to be automatic, you know. If you're gonna, say, do the yard work yourself, you should at least have a backup person that you can just instantly say, oh, can you take care of this? Because there might be times when you don't have the time, you're too busy. And the bills, as I said, set them up to be automatic, just automatically paid, because there's some times when you could be too busy. In fact, you probably a lot of times don't want to deal with that. And especially if you get into a mortgage, then you're going to have, you know, a lot of extra mail coming to you and email, because your information gets out there. You would most likely think about credit scores, and then so you're on mailing lists for that, as well as somebody that wants to buy stuff. They want to send you offers and emails and paper mail and new credit cards, and then it puts you at a debt risk, because how much fun it is to spend other people's money and just pay it back later with a lot of interest. And I've been through that, and a lot of people have been through that, where they find, oh, I just got laid off, I have all these credit card bills to pay, how am I going to pay the bills? Oh, better to just get rid of that. But if you do, then how do you get a good credit score to get a decent rate on a mortgage? And so you almost, you know, feel perhaps stuck into really needing to use credit. And then how can you make that automatic? All these things add up, and truly I don't think you can automatize payment, although maybe you can do it through your bank, just have an automatic payment to your credit cards set up so that you always have that coming out of your bank accounts. And so you need a lot of money, like I recommend an entire year's worth of income in sort of cash bank accounts or a money market fund or something, so that you can easily transfer that into a checking account that automatically pays, well, it could be checking or savings, that through your bank you can easily set up automatic payments to a credit card. Although I'm against credit cards, I only use debit cards, and I don't totally recommend a mortgage. And you know, but if you do go that route, you're going to be super busy working on your credit, building up your credit score, and so on. And so just do it automatically, and it might be easy. It could be easy for you if you're a person that enjoys paperwork, good with numbers, and so on and so forth. But if you don't set it up automatically, you're going to be a typical person. Your family's going to break up. You will get a divorce. And you know, maybe there's a 25% chance that that would befall you, and it's not good. It's not good for your health. It's not good for the children. The society is sort of breaking down when you look at number of children actually raised by natural parents. That's right. It's less than half the children in the United States that have their two natural parents at home that care about them and have a semi-decent enough relationship to live in the same roof, under the same roof, and wonder why. It's because they're so stressed out from all the bills and the mail and the emails and the phone calls and the, you know, back and forth about mortgages and payments and finances. Yes, and the number one thing that breaks up families or marriages is argument over money. So if you don't get along and agree with somebody before you get married about how you're going to handle finances, you're taking a huge risk. So keep that in mind as you plan your wedding and marriage and so on and so forth. You have to talk about these things, you know, and if somebody has ever gone bankrupt and you're considering marrying them, you may want to reconsider. And any kind of, if they've had any kind of legal or criminal trouble, also you might want to reconsider, because that might be a person that costs you money. It would be more like taking care of a child. Now if that's what you want to do, and you're a very productive, capable person, and don't expect them to be employed nor to take care of the children, and not teach, you couldn't expect them to teach the children good habits as well, because they wouldn't have good habits. There's just those people. As long as you realize it ahead of time and you're willing to live in the poorhouse if necessary, well, then go ahead. But don't complain about it if you want to stay married. So anyway, and a mortgage is a definite stressor. You might be better off just renting if you want a single family home, which is definitely good for families. Maybe just rent it, have somebody that does the lawn and the leaves and garden and whatnot. You can get annual inspection, get a property inspector. It's probably less than $200-300 just to go over and catch any potential hazards before they destroy the property. A leaky roof that can destroy tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property, leaky pipes, fire hazards, and so on. Get those things checked out. Don't handle it yourself, and save yourself all the headache and hassle just by renting. And if you want to buy rental or real estate, you can live in a house that you don't do the work because it's a rental. Somebody else takes care of all the work. And you can own a different house and earn money from that, and also do very little work, because the renters there, for a discount, they could do all of the yard work, and you can have handymen and other people do repairs and so on and so forth. So therefore, you don't have to cut the lawn anywhere, and you don't have to paint anywhere. And so it can save you a lot of hassle, assuming that you're busy working. Now, if you are not busy working and you have a very high part-time income and you like doing house repairs and you're handy, then sure, go ahead, and maybe you can do well and keep a happy home, not owning the house that you live in, or owning the house that you live in. It might all work out, but majority of families in the United States, because of both people working, they just don't have time. Both parents working, they're so busy that they don't take proper care of themselves, their health, their children. They're trying to earn money and trying to save for retirement, and just stressed out. And you might find yourself in this boat and wanting to get out of home ownership. And as I said, it could be a rental property. Move out of your house into a less expensive rental place, or similar expense compared to your monthly mortgage, but you move into a place that you don't have to take care of because it's a rental that somebody else owns, and they take responsibility for repairs. And you could turn the house that you do own into a rental property, and then just get a property manager. So that's the way you could do it. All right, well, thanks very much. Take care now. Bye.